Welcome back, traders and investors. Second portion of our show. Well, Dennis, the SPOOs were unable to hold that mid-range on the day or yesterday's high. Starting to melt away here, Dennis. What are you doing out there?
The financials are really selling off here in the last 20 minutes. We've got Citigroup is down, JP Morgan is down, Goldman Sachs is down, actually 40 cents, Morgan Stanley is down, and Bank America down once again as well. It seems like Bank America always leading the charge down there, Joel. Actually, Bank America had went red yesterday too for a few minutes there around 3 o'clock. So Bank America looking weak too, Joel.
Okay, starting out with our market movers. I mean, we got to go to this AMR. I mean, that's huge news. One of the largest airlines in our country. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye for AMR. I think, obviously this has been rumored for quite some time. It comes to fruition here today. Stock was halted there about at 7:13 Eastern this morning. They actually went through and started busting some trades too, so not sure what's going to stay on there. Trade as low as 64 cents. I'd imagine it's going to open quite a bit lower than that when it does finally open. Obviously probably going to start the drift to zero.
Good support there.
Good support at zero. Yeah, I don't see it going much through zero, Joel, so I don't know about shorting at zero or not.
If you own the stock, you're going to end up owing people money.
Yeah, there you go. We got RIG, Transocean, doing a secondary. Man, this is a stock that has just had an awful month. The stock was trading here, if we look at the charts, back at the end of October, it's got up to $60, which is the key resistance area. I actually remember talking about that back on one of our October shows. And it's just sold off, continuously all through the month of November. Looks like it's going to end the month badly too, possibly on a new 52-week low, which we are trading at right about now. 43.15 was the old 52-week low. We're 43.10, so we're right there right now. Be interested to see if it does open below there, if the sell-off continues.
Yeah, Dennis, you got that exactly right. That 52-week low is coming into play. And so if you don't get a bounce there, folks, I got a real good level for you. Back in June of 2010, the stock hit 41.88. Also, in December of 2008, the stock hit 41.95. So if you shorts want to hold through the 52-week low, I suggest you get some bids out at this $42 level, as that is a multi-year low. Coming back on the upside. Not sure what the secondary price is, but this thing has been straight down since $46. You did have a little consolidation at $43.75. So if you are playing it from the short side, it gets above that $43.75, $44 level. I may have to reevaluate that position.
Tiffany announcing earnings here this morning, Joel, symbol TIF. Actually, on the top, it looked like they beat on the earnings estimates, but they must have had some bad stuff to say because it's 67.75 after closing at 73.62. So it's actually down almost $6 now. This is a major move now. Some of these retailers, they can really, get, they're typically, sometimes don't move around that much, and then they have earnings and bang, they fall, like 10% sometimes. So that's what we're seeing happening in Tiffany's today. I'm looking 70s key number, was a key, support area. We're obviously way through that. So if it cuts back up, I think you'll see some pretty good sellers in that $70 area. So I'd use that as resistance now. Support, you'd see some at 65, but, I don't know. What do you think, Joel?
I see that October 10th low at 67.76. That's currently where we're trading. I would use that as my swing number. If, in fact, they can't hold that level, I'd look for the test of that October 7th low of 65.52. Looking at this stock trading in the pre-market, it did have a little bit of breathing room there at 69. So if you are playing it from the short side, gets above 69, may need to reevaluate. But Dennis, we can always go to the famous litmus test on this stock. How many things or how many times have you bought something at Tiffany's?
I can't afford anything at Tiffany's, so I don't buy too much there. Well, let's move on here. We've got STX, which is Seagate Technologies, trading up $1.50 right now, 17.47 after closing at 15.99. So that's up on a good sales forecast there. Stock here, looking at the charts, we've got some pretty major resistance up at 18. That's 50 cents away from here. 17 may be a good swing number. What do you think, Joel?
Gotta agree with you there, Dennis. We hit 1780 in the pre-market, and now we're just consolidating at this 1750 level. So I'd use that 1740 to 45 as a swing. If you want to try the longs, I think you break below that level, could easily test the $17 level. On the upside, you got a high here at 1820 on November 11th, with the stock already being up $1.40, $1.50. Getting it up to that level would be up over $2. I imagine you'd find some people willing to sell some stock at that level, Dennis.
Well, we touched on the financials as we opened the show here, Joel. I think we should do some individual levels because it looks like those are definitely going to be relatively weak here this morning as they are in the pre-market. I know stuff can change pretty fast, but we talked about Bank America. That was kind of leading the charge down. We're at 517, which is down another 2%. That was trading down before pretty much any of the other financials were trading down. Actually, I see Bank America's trading down even last night. So 511, that's the 52-week low on Bank America. Takes that level out, maybe some psychological support at 5, but you gotta think this thing's starting to get real ugly here, like we're starting to having to go back here to those 2008 and 2009 lows, which, we talk about that where it was bottoming in that $3 area. I hate to say that it could, start to think about, testing down and getting that low over the next, month or two, but who knows here, Joel?
Who knows? I mean, Warren loved it at 880. So I wonder what the hell he's doing here at 515. The 505 was a low back in January of 09. So, good support at that 505, probably down to the $5 level. More of a tradable and more interesting formation we have here is in Goldman Sachs, Dennis. We did get that pop yesterday off the open, got a buck above the open, but basically sold off the rest of the day. Now we're currently trading down 78 cents from the close. Looks like we may get a test of yesterday's low at 89.37. But folks, keep an eye on 87.60 to 87.74. That was a double bottom from Wednesday and Friday. If that cannot hold, we could be looking at the low of the move from October 4th at 84.27.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Joel, just the financials overall, all of them don't look good on the charts. I don't think I'd want to own any of these things. Like I haven't wanted to own a financial stock in a long time, but I don't, you can say that they're approaching some old lows here, but man, the charts just do not look good on any of these financials. Obviously, from a fundamental perspective, we don't know what's happening in Europe, despite what they're saying, yesterday, where they might have the crisis solved. How many times have we heard that? I'm not going to even believe that anymore, obviously. So you got to think, until they really know if this Europe stuff's getting solved, and or even our own financial situation, like going back to the Bank of America, Joel, here was like a tell. You've got CEO coming out of Bank of America. It was back in, before Warren Buffett come into play, back in, early August, saying Bank of America absolutely does not need to raise capital. Then 3 weeks later, what do? They go and sell Warren Buffett, preferred stock. I forget what the yield was, but it was like 8 or 9% or something ridiculous. So here you are saying you don't need capital. Now you're going to borrow from somebody at 8% or whatever it is. It just seems ridiculous. So why are you borrowing money if you don't need capital? And paying 7 or 8%, I can't remember exactly what the coupon is. I think there's a convertible option in there too. So just, you can't believe anything that really these companies say here. And as the stock continues to drift lower, I just don't think I'd want to own any of these financials because I just don't know if you can believe what they say.
I mean, going back quite a few years when Bank of America took over Countrywide, it just, in the midst of that, the housing crisis and everything, I'm like, I just fundamentally I said to myself, why the hell are they doing it? Except to try and, cover up all the bad stuff that Countrywide had on the books. And basically, since they had bought Countrywide and did a bunch of other things, that investment in Merrill Lynch, the stock's gone nothing but straight down. I mean, but Dennis, how does the market just hold up here? The SPOO's at 1200 with, our major financial institutions, on the brink of bankruptcy.
Yeah, well, that's just it. That's why you almost think there's a disconnect sometimes between the market structure, which we've talked about for quite some time, as well. I think there is sometimes a disconnect with where the stocks are trading, the real fundamentals here. Like, we're so short-term nature, so much high-frequency control out there that, the prices you see are not often value is. I mean, you could even argue in a case like AMR, stock was trading at $1.62. Bankruptcy now, so it's, trading, probably $1.62 too high yesterday. So, and other days, or years ago, I can remember stocks would slowly drift to zero, stock get about 30 cents, and then they announced bankruptcy. Now you see, stocks $1.62, boom, bankruptcy. So it's just out, So it's hard to say whether, there's this overall disconnect or not, but I just think, with the financials as weak as they are, it's going to be eventually hard for this market to continue to hold up the way it is. Like, we're up, 5 points again. AMR is a major bankruptcy. All of our financials are down today. What's driving us up, Joel? I don't know. Maybe it's because money doesn't have a home. Where do you put money? If you have cash, you can sit into their bank at 0.5%. So, you've got to take some risk on, and maybe that's what it is that's holding these prices up. I'm just not sure, Joel.
Okay, well, that's your doom and gloom report for Tuesday, folks. So go out and buy the open. We'll be back with you tomorrow.